everyone!
Hello there!
We're back for another one. Hello, how you been?
Right, you doing?
Oh, it's been ages. It's been ages. Where am I looking? Here we're looking. Right, hello and welcome back to This is Portsmouth, the show with the inside scoop on everything going on in the UK's only island city.
We have yet another jam-packed show lined up for you all today, so we better get started.
We best indeed. I'm Ollie.
And I'm Charlotte.
And this is Portsmouth. Thank you, audience, for that lovely intro. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Everyone well? Yeah, they're a nice bunch. I like them.
Good bunch.
Shall we find out what's coming up in the show?
Yes,
Let's do it.
Well, we get started with finding out more about the past, present and future of radio.
We have a cheerful look at cheerleading. See what I did there? In
Ignoring
Portsmouth.
it.
We'll skip that one.
We catch up with Music Fusion, a local charity engaging young people through music.
We get the latest local news from our news correspondent, Stephen.
And we talk with Max Ryan.
Yes, and last but not least, we have a live performance from Louis Conchi, and we better move on before I start breaking out into song and dance. I'm so excited. This is a good one.
It's like this is Portsmouth's very own musical spin-off.
It's quite a musical one, this one, isn't it? It's a lot of music today. Lots of music.
But to start us off, the BBC is celebrating 100 years on the airwaves. But with music streaming and mobile phones, are the radio days numbered?
Oh, well, we tuned in to Angel Radio and Pure FM here in Portsmouth to find out more.
Hello, my name's Chris. I run the radio shop in Portsmouth here, and I deal mostly in vintage hi-fi record players. In the 1960s, we started to see transistor radio sets, which made the possibility of a pocket radio feasible. Previously it had been all valve sets, and they obviously were quite bulky and they needed big batteries and that to carry them around. But with the introduction of transistor sets, radios were got a lot smaller, much more sensitive, and much more affordable to the general public.
I'm Mark Ross. I am presenter and studio manager of Angel Radio. When we first started Angel Radio, we had an older generation that continued to play or wanted to hear Bing, Frank Sinatra and people like that. But as time's gone on, it's all changed now, and what we're getting is people who want to hear music from the 60s because that was their era. If I was to describe radio in a few sentences, it would be company. With our listeners, they feel that we're actually in their living room with them, sitting in a chair next to them, having a chat. That's how we come across when we broadcast. We broadcast to a point where we don't think about the masses of audiences we have out there. We're actually talking to one person, and that's how the people in their living rooms feel, that you're talking to them as a single person when actually you're talking to masses of people.
I think for older people, the radio is something they're used to. They've grown up with it. It's a friend to them. They don't want to see it go. A lot of older people don't use streaming services, and the radio is a good tool.
I'm Sam, I'm Head of Music for Pure FM 2022 committee. So Pure FM stands for Portsmouth University Radio Experience. We're basically the University of Portsmouth's student radio. We will be running 24 hours a day very soon, providing you great music and great podcasts and great shows.
I'm Charlotte, I'm the news lead for Pure FM, so that involves basically being in charge of the news team and sorting out our flagship news show, Pure News. I think news as it was before, obviously it was solely the radio, and now we kind of have a lot more different types of media that can work together with radio to create the best kind of news system and to keep citizens informed.
Do I think that radio is still relevant today? More so. More relevant than it has been.
Yes, I think radio broadcast as such will still be very, very important, but it's going to be mostly for data and information signals rather than audio broadcasting.
I do think radio is still current, but not in the same way it used to be. I think it's changed from being something that people maybe tune into at a specific time to being something that people can get anywhere, anytime, online.
I think it's still current, definitely. It's still needed. Radio is a vital space for discussion and to kind of bring issues to the public awareness, and it means that everyone can stay informed and up to date with what's going on.
Well, it seems like radio will be around for a good few more years to come.
And it's great to see multiple generations involved in pushing it forward for the future.
Yes, indeed. Now, on to cheerleading. We took a tumble with the Portsmouth Cheerleading Society during one of their training sessions to find out what goes on.
People having misconceptions about cheer really disheartens me sometimes, because there's only so much you can do to prove that your sport is a sport.
It does get quite annoying explaining that it is a sport and that there's a lot of stereotypes surrounding cheerleading, that it's not a real sport, so there's not a lot of effort goes into it and there's not a lot of endurance or intensity, when it's actually the complete opposite.
We cheer as a team for each other and compete against other teams rather than for a football team or a rugby team or something.
You've got to be quite strong to do it. If you see some of the girls later, some of their physiques from tumbling and doing what we do is just insane, and probably stronger than a lot of football boys.
I come off the mat absolutely sweating and out of breath because it's so intense. I'm tumbling, I'm stunting, I'm dancing, and you have to keep smiling at the judges the whole time, so there's a lot of stuff that goes on.
So sport has really helped structure my life more. It gives me a routine every day. It gives me a reason to wake up, really, because if you have a goal and you're working towards it every day competitively, then it really helps push you and give you a purpose in life almost.
You have to be bold on that mat. If you want the judges to notice you, you have to smile at them, you have to make faces, you have to be bold, you have to show off your dance. So when that's a part of your sport that's drilled into you, you naturally just become more confident outside of the gym.
Competing's the best bit about cheer. You work all year towards the competitions, so when you get there, you step out on the floor, obviously it's very nerve-wracking, but it's the best part and it's very rewarding.
It is more than just shaking some pom-poms. So we don't even hold pom-poms in our routine, so just saying.
From the beginning of the year, the girls have developed an incredible amount. When they first came in, first of all, none of them knew each other. We had a lot of girls who have just joined cheer this year. They all lacked quite a bit of confidence. When you've shared your knowledge with someone and they then pick it up, for some reason it's just such a nice feeling. As a coach, it's important to support them, and when you give them that confidence and then they do it, the confidence just keeps growing from there.
I think what defines a sport is having that dedication to keep going. It's all about using all your different skills in one and using that to perform at your best.
But more importantly, I'd say it's the ethos, the sporting ethos and the teamwork and the becoming a part of a bigger group, and how we encourage each other, egging each other on, making sure that we're looking out for each other.
I just want to show off as much as possible to be now you can try and do that, and they try and do it and they can't do it, and I'm it is hard, isn't it? Because it does look easy.
Looking at the start of the year and now, they also work together better as a team. because when they didn't know each other, it was a very awkward environment. Now they support one another more than I've ever seen a team support each other. When they're doing tumbles or stunts, they all shout each other on. Like, it helps them build confidence within themselves. It's really nice to see.
It's great to see some of the misconceptions and stereotypes being cleared up about cheerleading. We are now joined by Kezia from the cheerleading team. Welcome to the studio.
Hey guys.
Thanks for your time.
Hello.
How are you doing? You all right?
I'm good, how are you guys?
Good
Not
day.
bad so far, so good.
Good day, good day.
Now, so you got into cheerleading second year, is that
Second
correct?
year.
Second year.
Yeah.
So after all the COVID stuff.
After like COVID's done, I was like, I'm gonna try do a society and like go full blow and see what
Why
happens.
not? Why not? And when you joined in that, what do you now know about cheerleading? What's the definition for it for you? What's it all about?
I say it's more like stunts, chanting, being a group, performing, and also like it's a sport as well. So like you have so much training to do. So behind closed doors, but yeah.
Because I was actually on that shoot for that PT, and the training for that looked demanding.
It's
it
intense.
seems like a lot of
That's
hard work.
something that I have heard about cheerleading. Is it's very demanding and it's quite dangerous.
It is because you do loads of stunts. Some stunts go above your head. And like some people do backflips, like twist your ankle or your arm, so you just like never know what happens on the field. So yeah.
And how's it been being a part of the Portsmouth
It's been
PT?
really good. So like I made new friends, and obviously people when they join like first year, they don't really know people. So like cheer's a good place to start because when you go like into pop pod, like society nights out, we'll look out for each other. So it's, like, really
yeah,
good.
that's super important. And you mentioned that you joined in first year. How would you say, in terms of social and physical, have you found doing cheerleading? Has it been beneficial?
I would say socially, yeah, because I've met more people now. Like when I go out, I'll be like, oh hi, all people in my course. Like, oh, you do cheer, I'm gonna sit with you, blah blah. Yeah, so everything's been really good, I guess.
I've been listening to some of the girls practicing. It's not all about the pom-poms and the outfits and things, and that's what we were trying to look at with that PT, and break those misconceptions. Did you have any preconceptions yourself before you started cheer? Like, it is a sport, it's recognised as a sport, but did you just see it as like an activity or a hobby?
I mean, I'm not great at tumbles, so I thought, I was like, okay, I was
Neither
like,
are we, don't worry.
So, first year I was like on level 1, so it was like tumbling team. Did it a bit, but now on level 2 is like non-tumbling, so I'm like, great, I'm good at stunts, I can throw people in the air and like jump, so.
So I suppose that confidence thing's really come into it as well.
It does, it grows, and they also teach how to do stuff as well. Great coaches and everything.
That's fantastic. So how many stages are there? Because you mentioned that there's like different levels.
So there's game day, so you'll see them the pom-poms out on the field, probably for American football and like other sports.
Right.
And then there's level 1, so competition team, and then level 2, which is non-tumbling, and then level 3, which is tumbling and stunning and stuff like that.
Sure,
so.
yeah.
And what level are you at?
I'm on level 2, so non-tumbling, yeah.
And in your level 2, do you have any male performers at all, or female cheerleaders?
No, we don't, but we do have some on game day, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure about level 1. But
so do you think there's a bit of a gender gap there with the sport?
I feel like more boys could do it, but I don't know if they're like just not sure how they feel about it. But we had Bring a Boy to Cheer last week.
Okay.
So some people went, and also in Showcase we usually like let people try out and stuff like that to see how they feel about it, like a little taster.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been hard work.
Oh,
It must have been hard work.
Really.
But it must have been a great payoff. Like, what do you feel like you've taken away the most, if you could wrap it all up?
I think I've become more athletic, like lifting a lot. So that's been different, and actually being more sociable than staying at home. So.
Well, it sounds like you had a great time.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Kez.
Oh, it makes me want to do it now, actually.
Oh, no.
Should we go after the
Together,
show?
yeah, let's start it. Let's do it. Now, Ollie, have you ever thought about becoming a musician?
Well, I haven't, because living with you, you keep complaining about the singing I do in the morning.
I mean, I think the less that we say about that, the better. I'm sorry, I've got to be honest. Well, there are plenty of young people in the community with untapped musical talent, and with the help from local charity Music Fusion, they are changing their lives for the better. Let's take a look.
Music speaks where words fail, and in the moments of your darkest, when you feel like you can't talk to no one, there is always a song or a bit of music that will speak to you and that will help you understand it.
My name's Matt. I also go by the name of Blessed. Music Fusion is a music charity based in Havant, but we operate kind of all around Hampshire, and we're even doing national stuff now. Our kind of thing is we work with young people living in challenging life circumstances, and really when you boil it down is we just offer free music opportunities to any young people that wants them. I got into Music Fusion probably over 10 years ago now, so I was getting in a lot of trouble with the police and just kind of stumbled on Music Fusion at the time. They were just like the only people that kind of believed in me. They helped me get into college, and by the time I finished my college course, I was like working for them, and now I'm a program manager. What I like to bring to my work is authenticity. Like when I was young, I had so many workers, social workers, police, all that sort of stuff, and it would be like, oh yeah, I understand. I'll be like, no, you don't, mate. Like you read it from a book sort of thing. And like, I've lived that life. So when I have a young person that gets referred to me through the youth offending team, I can relate to them. Even for example, like kids, like I see a lot of myself in him. I've been working with him since he was 13. And now I see him as like a really good mate.
Because they think that they're the best. If we're talking about the treasure chest, you can take the art out of my chest and then we can talk from there if you want to get vexed. But this is how I feel. I live my life with being depressed. So of course I feel like a mess. Every day is constant stress. Mirror, mirror on the
As a young person growing up, I was heavily bullied from the age of like 6 or 7. I was at a point where basically I was going to kill myself. Right off in school, consistently violent, consistently dealing with mental health issues. And then I thought to myself, I was like, right, imagine if I could be a voice for a young person. Imagine how it feels if I had a kid coming home after being bullied and he's putting on my music and he stood in his room, he's crying his tears, but he's listening to me and he's like going, that's how I feel. Because if I can help that young person put down the knife and get involved in something like this, that young person can then go and tell other young people. They can share their story, and then that's stopping other young people picking up a knife. So effectively, by stopping one person, you could then stop down the line another 10, 20 people. Currently, right now, I am a young music leader. So when we do sessions with young people and we have a group of them, I like to sit down and challenge their content, help them learn how to write lyrics, how to become an artist. We give these young people a motive, a reason. For my mental health issues, you always feel like a burden. You feel like you can't turn around to someone and go, oh mate, I feel suicidal, I need a hand. I make my music for my mental health. I do that to also show other young people and other people they're not alone. I can sit there for weeks and weeks on end and I won't speak to anyone about my mental health. And I will sit there and I will dwell on it, I will drown in it, and I will almost die in it. The moment I'm on a stage, that's when I feel I'm at my most powerful. That's when I feel like everyone's listening to me. This is my time to tell you how I feel now.
Stabbed in the back by the people who claim they were right. And they claim that they got you, but it's a knife in the spine. Say your stuff about love, but they're quick to be so sly. I ride on my ones and I don't get up if I die. Stabbed in the back by the people who...
If I didn't have music, I would have been dead or in prison by the time I'm 15 easily. So music has literally saved my life.
For me, music is important because when no one will listen, you can still speak. When you're feeling down, it can raise you up, and it doesn't even have to be important to anyone else as long as it's real to yourself. And so for me, music lives forever, and that's what's important for me.
Oh, it's great to see a local charity making such a difference through the power of music.
It really is, and it just goes to show you how much music can impact a person's emotions. If you think Music Fusion is something that might help you, the link is on the screen along with other resources if you are struggling with anything discussed in this VT.
Lovely. Now, coming up next, we will be learning about singer-songwriter Max Ryan's journey into the music industry, but first, we'll be heading over to Stephen in the news studio.
Thanks, Ollie. Many Portsmouth students will be waking up clean-shaven this morning after the month of Movember. It's become a tradition to don a moustache for the month while raising money for charity. But it wasn't just those forgoing a shave who have been involved. A variety of different groups around the city have raised a lot of cash, including Portsmouth Sailing Club, who raised over £7,000. Money will help fight men's health issues such as suicide, testicular and prostate cancer. Last week, we found out about the importance of CPR training. 3 Portsmouth schools, Meon Infant, Meon Junior and Moorings Way Infant, have raised almost £2,500 for the installation of 2 new defibrillators available for public access. They can be found in yellow cabinets on Shelford Road and Mooring Way. Over in Qatar, the FIFA World Cup is moving into its knockout stages, and Portsmouth midfielder Joe Morrell will be exiting the competition after a 3-0 defeat to his Wales side by England. But Portsmouth-born midfielder Mason Mount remains a key member of Gareth Southgate's squad ahead of their round of 16 clash with Senegal on Sunday. That's all from me over here. Back to you in the studio. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Now, we talk with Max Ryan, an up-and-coming musician from his journey from footballer to music artist. Working with a music agency based in Portsmouth, he now shares with us his new passion.
Sorry, I'm just blabbing on. I'm feeling oh so different. Perspective shows a bigger picture. It leaves a hole inside my soul. So my name's Max Ryan, I'm 23 and I'm a singer-songwriter from Hertfordshire. I was about 18 and I never really told anyone that I'd done the music. So I remember when I was at Watford, football crazy, and then I was fortunate enough to get picked up by an academy, and at school that was sort of my life. And a few years ago I started working with a company called LMS UK, who are based here in Portsmouth. And it's kind of nice to come away from your little bubble of where you live and then come down to somewhere like Portsmouth and meet people and work with them. But I think the best gig I've done here is obviously Victoria's Festival, which is massive. And it was great to be a part of it this year. I thought I was just football, and you know, that was when I was at school, that was the coolest thing to sort of do, until I then started, you know, picking up the guitar and writing songs, and I always found joy in doing that. And yeah, it was always sort of an escape from school and from football at the time. So you're at a party in that dress, little conversation with your friends, hoping it was about me, but you never noticed me then.
I guess I kind of just thought it was my hidden talent sort of thing. So when I sort of first doing music, there was sort of like, where has that sort of come from? So I've always just enjoyed playing in front of people, and it was just, if I could do that, you know, full time, whatever I do, even with the football, just performing in general, I think is just the main, you know, goal of mine really, and just hope people enjoy what I'm showcasing, whatever that might be, I think.
And now, from one musician to another, I'd like to introduce Louis Conchi, who is a member of the Portsmouth University Orchestra and is here to talk to us about his experience as a musician, and end off our show with a live performance of one of his original songs called Waiting. Welcome, Louis.
Thanks for joining us today, Louis. Now, can you tell us, when did you first start writing your own songs and sort of playing the guitar?
Well, I started playing the guitar when I was about 14, 15. Just started, because obviously I've been playing instruments all my life.
Sure.
Since I was about 7, but obviously guitar was what I always wanted to pick up. But I started writing around 2 years ago, so during lockdown, when obviously we were all locked away, so I had nothing better to do.
It's a nice bit of escapism there.
Yeah, exactly, escapism.
And so you saying that, was there any inspiration, is that the inspiration behind the song you're going to play,
Yeah,
Waiting?
it's kind of like obviously waiting for a better future almost, waiting, you know, obviously for it to, everything to open back up again, you know, when I wrote it, obviously that was what I felt.
Does it still have that same meaning, or are you waiting for something different now?
It's different now, I'd say. Obviously, the world has opened up a bit more, maybe too much.
Just waiting to pass uni.
Yeah,
waiting to graduate.
Waiting for Christmas.
Waiting for Christmas, yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that you started when you were 7.
Yeah.
What was the first instrument then? Because you're playing guitar for us today.
Yeah.
Is
So I started on piano actually when I
okay.
was 7, and flute. But the funny fact about piano is that I was gifted it for Christmas. I thought it was for my brother, but actually it was for me, and I was quite resistant initially.
Oh,
but
really?
Eventually I caved in, and yeah.
Is it quite musical in the family then?
No, absolutely not. I'm a black cat.
You're setting the bar.
Yeah, legit. It's quite lonely, but it's quite fun sometimes because you can just like hold a leverage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so growing up with that, or what advice would you give to budding musicians?
I'd say listen to your teachers, but don't always have to do what they want you to do. Do what you want to do. You don't have to. You have to do grades or lessons or anything like that. You can start with that. That's how I've learned. But obviously, it's about what works for you and what is best for you.
Yeah, important to hone your own craft and your own creativity.
I'd say that's pretty sound advice, actually.
It's very sound advice. I really like that.
Because you play an instrument, don't you?
I do. I play bass.
There you go.
Yeah.
You start a little band together.
Start a band.
I'm not singing.
There you go. You can be our backing dancers.
Yeah, I can be a backing dancer.
There you go.
Get the cheerleading girls to teach
there
me a little
you go,
routine.
Yeah,
and then
it's
we
all
can
coming
do
together.
We can do something together.
Perfect.
Well.
Okay, so
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Louis, for that inspiring message. I'm sorry.
It's okay, that's all right. I think we need to hear a bit of music though, because I've been
I do
waiting
too.
all day to hear a bit of this. If you're good to set up, we'll set up on the way and we'll get ready for you. Lovely stuff.
Brilliant stuff. I'm
forward to
very
this. I
excited.
I'm
I do love a bit of live music.
We have like lights ready and everything for it. You're up for a real treat.
We get into the mood for music.
We are indeed. But now performing his original song Waiting. Can our audience, can our crew, can the people here please give it up for Louis?
Woohoo!
I've seen it all. Waiting for a line. I'm running out of time. Waiting you to soon. You told me you were home. I see you out now, going round the town. Where was the love that we had, darling? But time has passed, almost too fast, my love. Thank you.
Brilliant job.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's
what
we've
a
got
performance.
try and put our torches away.
Got to put our torches away now. There we go.
What a nice, sweet little way.
Brilliant way to round up the show.
But that's all we've got
Loved
time
it.
for. That's it for today, everyone, I'm
Unfortunately,
afraid.
it is. But we will be back next week with more local news and stories from around Portsmouth. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Ollie.
It's me.
This is Stephen. And this is Portsmouth. Goodbye.
Goodbye.